All right, all right. Music Matters 2025, 20 years. Congratulations, Jasper and the entire branded team. We are very happy to be here. We have a really important panel for you on AI and music creation. Our esteemed panel of experts are going to introduce themselves much better than I could. Why don't we start with Amma?
Is the microphone on? Yes. So my name is Amma Walton. I'm General Counsel and EVP for Content Licensing at SoundCloud for the last 5 years. And SoundCloud, it's a global brand, but a small business, is a music platform which entirely focuses on music, where artists and fans can connect and empower and share through music. So no short-form videos, solely music. And the focus is really on the connection between the artist and their fans. You can build your audience there, and as a first uploader, really start your career. My background is I've been, before SoundCloud, General Counsel at BMG. I spent my entire career in the music industry, always with a strong love and respect for the creative community. So I see myself, although being a lawyer, as an enabler and supporter for artists, and always with the mantra that we work for the artist doesn't work for us. And as you all know, we are at a turning point again in the music industry. I've seen the arrival of MP3, and then a decade, an era of piracy, which then led into downloads, streaming, and now Gen AI, with a focus on creation of music. So when the last decade was really on consumption with the all-you-can-eat subscription model, we are now, in the next decade, really focusing on the creation and how we value music and will share it and interact with it. I hand over to Charlie.
Thank you. I'm Charlie Lexton. I'm the COO of Merlin. Merlin is a licensing agency for the independent sector. We represent, or our members have about a 15% market share in recorded music. I've worked with Merlin since 2008, since the organization started in business. And like Amma, nearly my entire career has been in the music industry. Some of it actually with Amma.
Together.
A long time ago, although, unbelievable that it could be so long ago. I think 2-3 years ago, we thought maybe life was going to be easy. We'd sort of worked out digital, and we were going to sit back and just enjoy the spoils. Turns out it wasn't so simple. We're again at a point where we have a lot to work out, and there's definitely lots of challenges, but also a really exciting future ahead of us, I think. So interested to have this discussion.
Hi, my name is Bill. I actually come from a family of generational opera singers. But I'm very lucky, and I can sing. But as a child, I fell in love with math and technology. I remember when I was in primary school, my dad sent me to study computers. Back then, it was very, very basic. It was not even, it was Windows 95 or something. So I had the urge of, when I grew up, became a tech entrepreneur, and the opportunity maybe to make music easier to create for everyone in the world. That's kind of what I'm working on. So I'm very lucky and honored to be here to represent the new segment of AI-powered music creation or consumption, and looking forward to share more.
Great, thank you so much. So let's dig into it, Gen AI. I think everybody here knows that the gatekeepers have been kicked out a long time ago. The guardrails have been off. People have been able to create music in their bedroom with their computer for a long time. But Gen AI takes it to a whole new level, right? It's a whole new empowering tool for creators. But as everyone knows, there's a lot of worry that Gen AI is going to replace artistry as opposed to enhance it. So this is the big question. Is it a democratizing tool? Do you see it enhancing creativity? What does the panel feel about this? Sure,
Should I
Alma,
begin?
sure,
I
sure.
can begin.
Anybody can jump in, but Alma's great.
SoundCloud sees it as an empowerment for artists in their journey of creating music. And of course it needs protections, but I remember a time 1.5 years ago when there was the sentiment of this threat. I live in Berlin, my husband is a music producer and DJ, so we are very much surrounded by music producers and people who work with music. We had these AI dinners where we had a safe space to discuss it because it also felt so heated and political, so you didn't know what to say to whom. And one of the music producers who was super successful, played various instruments, knew all the technology, he explained to me that he saw himself on a scale from 1 to 10 on the level of 7 of his capabilities, how to produce music. And he said with the tools he's exploring right now, he gets to the level of 9, which he never thought he could. But then he said, so it doesn't scare me at all because I just get so much better. And everybody else can easily, without any education now, go to a 3 to 5 level. So there is a gap. Not everybody can produce beautiful music, and definitely not the machine without the spark and the origination of a human. So it will be a tool which empowers and supports creative creation, but it will not simply replace human creation.
Right, thank you. Charlie?
Shall I have a turn or a go? I think from our perspective, there's a fundamental point, which is all of these tools, everything to do with AI is based on training on existing content. So fundamentally, we're very clear, we don't think it's really controversial that if you're going to use rights holders' content, you need their permission to do so. Once you're over that hurdle, I think all bets are off. Everything is up for discussion. That discussion is almost infinite because we're talking about tools to create music that can be something as sort of simple and sort of harmless sounding as maybe a library of sounds that are created by AI, right through to Gen I music, which is a song created by just someone's one-sentence prompt. And there's a reality that I think all of that is probably going to produce what we would generally accept as good music. And then there's the question, what do you do with that music? How do you deal with royalties on that music? Do you treat that different from purely human created music? Do you allow all of that music to be uploaded to DSPs? None of it, some of it. And these are all questions that we're discussing, sort of debating at the moment. We're clear that what you can't do is ignore it, and I think that maybe if sometimes you face difficulties and challenges, there can be a temptation to do that. That's not something that we're doing at Merlin. But yeah, going back to the simple, as a creator tool, I think it's really exciting, and I do think it democratizes things. Ultimately, though, there needs to be someone on the other end, either using that music or listening to that music. So there's, in a democracy, you need votes. So certainly I think it will lead to an even greater volume of creation of music. That doesn't mean that it's all going to get listened to or used. But this is why I'm excited, because I think that we have the opportunity now to sort of set the rules, and as Emma's talking about, guardrails. And I think that as an industry, I hope that we've learned from the digital revolution and the rather faltering response to Napster and peer-to-peer streaming at the time, after which, really services like Spotify set the agenda for the music industry. I think now is the opportunity for the music industry, if we embrace this technology and work out how we want to use it and where it can work for us, we have a sort of second chance really to have a more thoughtful and positive response.
Great. And Bill?
Yeah, maybe I can share a little bit from the technology perspective, right? So if we go back in history, there's an era there was no technology making music. We just had instruments. I think back then, maybe that really flourished in 1800s, and we had Wagner, Mozart, and the assessment was that globally there were maybe 50,000 people creating music. And that was about it. And this year, or last year or this year, I think we have around 100,000 people, 100 million people who created music. It doesn't mean that they created it in a way that's artistic. And to the question where does it replace artists or not replace artists, so I think every time there's a new technological revolution, it just expands the number of people who can create music, or actually expands the circle of who can be artists, and makes the creating art easier, but it doesn't replace the human touch, because I think art is partly bringing out human emotion, human experience, and that is not experienced by the machine yet. So I think it will just expand the circle of people who can create.
Right, right. Yeah, your technology in particular, Wondera, is sort of conversational AI. So can you tell us like how conversational AI is like lowering the barriers for creators to create music?
Yeah, totally. So I think that right now, if you look at the actual industry, the latest technology in companies that are bifurcation, there are two trends that people are going for. One is there are a certain group of companies that are trying to go for an AI doll that looks more like an AI-powered Logic Pro. It's a multi-stem editing studio. They call it some sort of Suno studio or something that just released. And there's the other group, which is us. We're trying to make it more intelligent, less UI. Because I think you can build infinite UI, and then you build infinite UI, it looks, again, like Ableton or Logic Pro. We want to build it more like a ChatGPT experience, where you can, most of the things that you need to do is abstracted away by the agent. So if you want to do multi-stem editing, or you want to come up with ideas, whatever you want to do, however complex you want to do, you just need to convey that to the agent, and the agent can figure out which tool to use and coordinate a tool chain and just do it for you, right? There's an end-to-end from ideation, creation, editing, operating a DAW in the cloud, and to publishing, distribution, the entire thing for you as a co-pilot. We feel like this is the most natural way, and it's more intelligent than you pressing buttons. And maybe also more consumer, lower the barrier. So really, my vision is a product where my 5-year-old nephew can use it to make music, maybe just through voice. Right? I don't think my 5-year-old nephew would be able to operate the complex UI that's some of the other competitors.
Yeah, you're definitely widening the field there of who can create music. How do we ensure that these creators are protected legally and rewarded financially? This is for everybody. These new creators using AI. How can we ensure that? Is that a tough question? I'm going to look at Charlie for that one, but I have more specific questions in that realm as well. But
I guess protections come down to what I said earlier about the training stage of an AI model. You know, ensure that that's done with authorization. And rewarded, I think that the structures are in place. You know, the platforms are there. I'm sure there'll be new platforms. But I think the marketplace will take care of that. And that, as I was saying earlier, I think just the fact you're able to create music doesn't mean you're necessarily going to be able to make a living from music, and we're seeing that already.
Yeah, and maybe to add, we need to separate the or differentiate the music creation with AI by the legitimate use, and then of course the illegitimate use, which was never acceptable, and we have to be responsible in every position as a rights holder, as a platform, as a creator, and protect copyrighted works and not exploit them. And from a platform perspective, we assure that our content identification systems are strong, that we have the right terms of service. Our API terms of service do not allow scraping, and we have a no AI detection mark on on the platform. So there is a whole realm of protections you can use, and of course, at the end of the day, we know that there is a litigation ongoing between the IRAA and Suno and Udio, and legislation and the marketplace will fight the illegitimate use.
Right, right. Do you want to address that, Bill?
Yeah, I think I've got the hard question. Well, luckily, at least for us, so far, all of our training data have been fully licensed. We're pretty concerned on this from the beginning. We got also pretty smart. We started working with karaoke producers. Actually, Caravan, Tansy Music is an investor in the company. So we had access to a catalog at the beginning, and then we started working with indie labels. Actually, we have a partnership with Source Audio. We have licensed data from Source Audio. But to be an AI music company is incredibly hard because if you want to build the best model, then you need a lot of data, and the data are either very expensive, you try to license fully, or you have to negotiate with the major labels, which took us 2 years so far. We do have some breakthrough. I cannot announce yet, but it's with one of the three, maybe more very soon. But I do want to come back to the question where, we're creating like a billion track a year right now. So not every one of these tracks are going to be art. You say, make a song for my dog, or make another rock song, and AI will make you something average. But the music is really, the art is on the edge, right? So I think maybe music last 20 years was more like a streaming experience. In the future, in the next, actually, it's more like a creative experience or personalization experience. I think but this whole thing is going to change the value layer of the industry, create incredibly new opportunities for everybody. Rights holders used to make money from streaming. In the future, rights holder will make money from inference. Every inference, because I provided data to train foundation models. I provided 20% of data to train this foundation model. So every inference, I'm going to make X percentage from every inference, right? So that's rights holders. Then, that's the labels, and then publisher will have incredible opportunity too. Because if you think about like music as streaming, where Spotify like a drugstore, where you're like CVS, right? You have a bunch of different drug, and drug has two components. You have the formula, and you have the drug itself. The drug itself was worth the most of money. It was like 85% of streaming revenue, and the formula, which is publishing, was 15% of the revenue. I understand.
Nice analogy.
Yeah, it was very hard to make the drug. The material was very expensive. But now we have a 3D printer with AI. We can print the music or print the drug at almost zero marginal cost, right? So what happens now? The drug itself has zero marginal cost. But then the formula, which is the composition and publishing rights, became more important. So there's an incredible opportunity for the publishers in the age of AI, right? So reshape the industry where the rights holders, recording rights holders, providing the data to train the brain and train the orchestra, the infinite orchestra that just 3D prints or creates infinite music. But you have to create the music based on certain composition, right? So this is incredible. This basically allows potentially every consumer to personalize or create derivative work or to personalize the music in the way they want, only using composition and lyrics. Because I don't need to use the original recording. And then the publishing rights are still owned by the publisher, but the new recording rights may be partially owned by the user. But whether if we allow them to distribute is a different story. But if we do allow them to distribute, this be obviously partially owned by the artist or whatever. So it basically allows the fans to create their own version and maybe share part of it. And all the rights holders don't need to do anything, just earn passive income.
Collect passively, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a few important points in there. I don't think you're saying that record companies are like drug dealers. Just want to clarify that.
Pharmaceutical companies?
Yeah. But serious point, I was talking earlier about needing permission and authorization, and you made an important point, which is that's difficult. So Merlin has done a deal that's publicly announced with 11 labs, which involves authorized creation of models trained on our members' repertoire. And I think a really important part of that deal is just saying it's possible. It's doable. And I sympathize with you on the difficulties of getting deals done, but I definitely want to say that we're here to do deals and, you know, have the evidence that it's doable. Totally, what you're talking about in terms of ownership of the outputs, I think the industry, in my opinion, does have to understand that these deals are not streaming deals. So the consumer, it's not a deal where I'm selling you content that you're selling to a consumer, it's different. And actually that's a simple point, but actually conceptually a difficult point for the industry to change its mindset. And then finally, I don't know what your opinion of this is, but my understanding, my experience so far is that the higher quality, and we have a discussion about what that means, of the content that's used to train, the better quality the model.
Yeah, of course. So better quality, the input, the garbage in, garbage out, right? Also, the more data, the breadth of the data also make the model be able to perform better on the edge cases, on the particular cases. So that's all very important. Ideally, you want the foundation model to train on every existing music in the entire world. And there are also many types of music in different countries, in different styles. You know, the model we have in the US are tend to be skewed toward Western music, maybe less good in creating very authentic African music or Chinese music or, you know, things like that.
Yeah. So, but just to make the broad point, Charlie, you think that his suggestion about the way licensing could be paid or the rights holders could be paid will have to evolve with AI?
Yes, because they're new deals.
Right. Right.
It's just a different model, and I think it's really important to get your head around that.
Right. SoundCloud has a lot of partnerships with AI companies, generative AI. Can you talk about the strategy behind these partnerships with SoundCloud?
Not only generative AI partnerships, but also including some of them. We have around 50. Not everything has been launched so far. The strategy, when we started that, is simply to explore and learn how users are using those new tools and how do they interact with Gen AI. And because we're at this turning point, as I said in the intro, and the business model or the market, the business framework has yet to be found to really offer something that and copyright protection and caution and curiosity. We have partnerships with Fader, for example. It's a remix and mashup company where we offer to artists who are directly signed to SoundCloud to provide stems and enter a competition, which is then marketed on the platform. So this is really for the fans then to explore, send in their own remixes, and all, of course, in the guardrail of the consent of the artists. And with the principle too that these partners we work with, they have to oblige to content identification tools, and I don't want to overshare deal specifics here, but there are restrictions built in order to make it a legitimate and fair use. And it's great to see what input and data we can see from offering those tools, including an upload button to the platform, and just to learn and explore further on what makes sense to then really focus on and prioritize.
Right. Yeah, that upload button is certainly going to be changing things. I mean, before, basically, people listen to music, and now with AI tools, they're going to be creating music. I wonder if, with the new creation, I wonder how discovery is going to go. If you have anything that you want to say about that, both, I think Charlie has a lot to say about that.
I mean, discovery, I don't know if everyone is aware, we bought 4 years ago an AI company which is called Museo, which was founded here in Singapore. And that really improved our discovery and recommendation engine at SoundCloud. And because it has been mentioned, the oversaturation of tracks created by Gen AI on platforms with hundreds of thousands of uploads each day makes it really very, very difficult for artists to cut through the noise. And this is the zero place problem, how we defined it, and to make sure that every uploader gets the chance that their music is listened to. We offer a program where you can opt in when you have an Artist Pro subscription, and to opt in that your track, which is being matched then with which music, which is similar to your track, is then offered to 100 listeners. And if that goes well, then to 1,000 listeners. And if that goes well, to the buzzing playlist. And with that opt-in process, P100, P1000 we call it, you get introduced to real listeners and can break through the noise and build your audience. So that's something we really focus on.
Right. You have anything to add, Charlie?
I mean, what I'd say is, Amma talks about the big issue, which is how do people discover what they want to listen to amongst the millions, if not billions of tracks. And I think ultimately it comes down to connection and engagement. And I think we probably all have an assumption that you need to engage with a story behind the music. And certainly I find it difficult to imagine really investing in music if I don't have some feel for the story or the person behind the music. I think there's a danger there that I'm imposing my own perspective and to assume that a younger generation will have the same perspective. But I think the general point of there needs to be something they're engaging with is what ultimately will cut through. And maybe we'll make a lot of tools and music that we see now almost like a bit gimmicky and toy-like, some of these tools. And I don't think those are going to be the sort of big success stories at scale in the future, because I don't think those do generate that engagement. How that's done, I don't know, but I think that's what underlies the issue.
Right. Amma, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to add to what Charlie the point he made is really very obvious on SoundCloud, because you can build that true connection with commenting on a track, with direct messaging. So there is an interaction between the fan and the artist, and this is what drives streams. And there's another differentiator at SoundCloud, that's the user-centric royalty model. So every dime a user spends on SoundCloud is paid directly to the artist he or she listens to. So, and what we can see, if the artist is engaging with their listeners, the money goes up. So there's also a business and financial component to that engagement. And I don't know if you can automate it or fake it, but at the end of the day, if it's real, then it works. And of course, the machine can take this over too, but I still don't believe that this will be replacing a true engagement between an artist and a fan.
Right. Well, that's what we hope, right? That the artist's engagement will remain in that way. Did you have something you wanted to add?
I'll add a little bit. So I think I want to say, don't worry, and the AI music is not going to be very competitive to the artistic music, because there is very average music if you use an average prompt, right? So unless you're an artist, AI will enhance your artistry if you're average simple prompt. AI doesn't even know what you want, so AI is going to make something very, very average. So it's not going to be competitive. But I do want to add an idea I think could be incredibly powerful and return for the industry is copyrightable AI-generated music. Right now, AI-generated music are not copyrightable, right? But what if copyrightable, I mean derivative cover remix of existing copyrightable content derived from, could be entirely new track, but derived from something from existing copyrightable music. Imagine if you had a catalog sufficiently large, let's say you have the 5 million catalog, whatever the user want, I can always find something similar and remix that with prompts to what user wants. In a way, I can always create the track the user want as a derivative from existing popular music. So every output is copyrightable. That is actually possible.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Basically, it's like a kind of like a ChatGPT always spits out copyrightable music, but there's also anything the user wants, anytime.
Wonderful. We could go on and on. I think there's a lot of topics here, but unfortunately we're out of time. So thank you so much for those comments. Please give them a great round of applause, our AI experts. Thank you guys so much.